Okay, hey everybody. Happy Friday to you. Gonna be doing a cool little card here of the Hulk and Prime. So give me just a second here. Okay, cool. And hey Jay, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. Let's see what's going on here. Let me adjust my light. I'm blinding myself. Never good. Why is he drawing circles? Because he can't see. Yeah, if you don't know who Prime is, it's not Optimus. Okay, it's not from the Hasbro Transformers line. This is um, this is a Malibu version. Back in the '90s, there was a company called Malibu Comics, and a bunch of old school creators got together from. Oops, knocking stuff off my desk here. Sorry about that. Um, got together from Marvel and DC and created their own characters. And this one is a cross between Superman and um, he's a cross between Superman and Captain Marvel. As there's a kid in there, and he gets poisoned with this toxic ooze, and becomes the superhero whenever he gets angry. And the angrier he gets, he's kind of a knockoff of the Hulk as well. Little mix in there because the more angry he gets, the more muscular and stronger he gets. So it's pretty interesting. I liked the character. I really dug the series. It was a cool approach. And whenever Malibu absorbed, or excuse me, Malibu was absorbed by Marvel, it acquired all those characters. And till this day, I know it's still in the rumor status, but I still think there's something to that old rumor of Malibu working with the Image guys to get their books out and giving them a non-exclusive imprint where they printed their books. In the beginning, they printed their first couple of books. They printed the Image anthology and the preview and the first book of Youngblood under that publishing house. And it said, if you open in the inside cover, it says Malibu, the Malibu Publishing Company, and then the Image imprint underneath it inside the cover. And I still think till this day that I've never confirmed it, other than what they said and accused them of. I still think that Marvel hooked that up to buy out Malibu when they thought they had an ownership of Image, because they were still dealing with the non-creator owned aspect of what they did, and how they ran things. And I don't think that they knew about the creator owned model that Image was producing. And whenever they came into that, Image got really big really fast, and then Malibu took off like crazy right there with Peter David, Barry Windsor Smith, just on and on and on of these old school great creators from the 70s and 80s, which they're not old guys. I mean, they are now, but they're not they weren't older guys then. They were just heavy hitters, and they created their own stuff because they couldn't get writing jobs anymore because everybody was trying to get the younger, fresher stuff. And they wanted to go out on a venture and create their own comics, which is part of what started Image as well in the first place, because of the fact that creator-owned properties weren't allowed at the bigger companies. And you were freelance for Marvel and DC, and whatever you created for them for those series, they owned. And that was the whole creation process of Image in the first place, was the guys trying to get more credit and better pay and better position for themselves personally. And I'm totally for independent comics. I have no problem with that. But anyway, the cool thing about it is somehow Malibu got absorbed in a hostile takeover from Marvel, and they took out Firearm, which was a series. They took out Ultra Force and took a bunch of their characters. They took Prime and they made them into animated series as well as a live action series for Nightman. Mark McComb was in there. Mark or Mike McComb? I can't remember the guy's name. He played the lead character and moved on to play in other bits in movies. He was always in the background kind of thing, but he played in anything from The Cell with Chris Evans and Kim Basinger, and then went on to play in the Matrix films, as well. Was in those as one of the agents. That was a reoccurring role for him. But anyway, they got their hands on the properties, and I still till this day think that it was a coup to try to join up and buy up those characters so that they could absorb them, and in an attempt to buy up the Image characters from those books, those early appearance books. But they had no ownership. The publishing company had no ownership whatsoever for that property and those brands, so they couldn't touch them. But I've also heard over the years that it was a reverse scam by the Image guys being involved with Malibu, wanting to take a weak company and give them top dollar for their weak services at the time, because their company was hit and miss. I mean, they had some really good books, but they weren't getting the press because they were isolated and locked out by the monopoly of Diamond, and they just weren't getting the pull that they needed and the support they properly needed in Malibu's publishing company. And then on top of that, whenever you go along with it from the Image aspect of it, that would have been hilarious if they'd set it up to where Marvel would have paid top dollar for their stuff, only to buy them out and let them move on. And it gave them notoriety for their books for a little while, made them hot for a couple of months. Definitely in 92 and 93, when the books started coming out from Image, they were all over it, man. I mean, they were just all over the place. Firearm, Nightman, Rune, Hard Case, Prime. They ran for a good couple of years in there before getting absorbed, and I thought that was pretty cool. I think that if Marvel bought them pre-93, then they had to run the titles out to make the money off of them to make that brand pay itself off first. But like I said, only they know, and it's just rumor. Like I said, it's non-confirmed. I just found it highly amusing, the fact that that's something that's always shot around as a rumor. I'd love to find out, and I'm speaking hypothetically here right now because I don't know any of that as confirmation, and I'm going to check into it as I draw this today. I'm going to check it out, and we'll confirm and get back to you guys on it as to how that went down, because I would love to know for sure how it all played out, because that was a big deal when Image came around and changed the industry for everybody. And then on top of that, you had Marvel trying to do anything they could to get a hold of getting their top talent back into the system and into the fold. And if they would have absorbed that company and then got a hold of those characters from Image, that would have been the end of the straw. I think that broke the camel's back, and it would have been lawsuit hell. And I say that as in not a swear, but as in a place. So kiddies, don't freak out. But yeah, I think they just would have been stuck in a void or a vacuum forever, fighting each other, trying to get those back, if that would have happened. But I know the image guys weren't going to make a deal like that because that was the whole purpose of what they were trying to get away from. So, I mean, I know that's not going to come up in that, but who knows? Maybe maybe Kirkman will take it and share that in his new secrets of, comic book origins or whatever that show is. I love the show. I just haven't been able to keep up with it yet, and I don't want to disrespect Kirkman because he's out there, doing the work on it and whatnot, and whatever. But yeah, it just makes me smile to think that, they got one over on them. If that's even a remote possibility, it's just fun to think about nonetheless. Because stuff like that happens all the time in these companies. So, hey, Linda, Alfred, glad you guys made it on. Thanks for stopping by and checking it out. But, yeah, I mean, in the marketing world, I deal with stuff like that all the time. And you hear about, vicious hostile takeovers and stuff like that. And, in brick and mortar businesses and things like that. And it's just crazy to think because, all that tabloid stuff has, whether it's true or not, I mean, most of it is fodder, 99% of it's fodder. But then there's that one story that it comes along and it really makes you think and you go, really? And you just have to deal with it, And I think that a lot of the industry being so monopolized for so many years, especially with the early 90s boom, I think that's a huge step in the right direction for revealing a bunch of that stuff. And I would love to see how it all plays out, but we'll see. I'll do some more research and digging into it and find out what I can about it. If you want to go online and look it up, that's cool, do that. But I always find it fascinating to find these things out. But with this card coming off, I just wanted to do something more comic style and get away from the pose stuff for a little bit. And I'm going to try and start doing a little more of this action card stuff for this series. Due to size, scale, and time restraints of trying to keep it, under a half hour or so. I don't know how far that'll go. We'll see, but I'll give it a shot, and we'll see how it goes for you guys. But I know we've been getting a lot of feedback on it. I've been getting feedback everywhere, and with the new podcast and the marketing stuff coming up, it's getting even more so, which is cool. I appreciate that, you guys, for supporting all that stuff and coming out and getting it. And we've got tons of stuff going on. And as of the 1st, today, everybody's been screaming at me, hey, where's the blog? Where's the blog? I am going to be working late tonight to try to get that up and running for the reveal. I had a problem with some internet tech here in our part of the city, and they did some upgrades and things, and now we've got them coming out this weekend to work on some stuff. So I've been kind of working offline to minimize the wear and tear on it because our Wi-Fi setup is jacking up right now, and that's a professional term, by the way. That's a technical term, but we're trying to get everything situated so we can get back up on that. And as soon as I can hit a heavy load for the bandwidth, I'm going to see about getting all this stuff up and running and operational and all of that. I try to save as much of the charge as we can for the live right now, each and every day for you guys for the show. And we're going to be catching that up in the next day or two. But yeah, the blog's still going to go up. I'm going to put it up tonight. And while everybody's running around tomorrow doing the shopping thing and whatever, I'm going to stick that out there for you guys. So we'll be able to see some of that coming on. The good old comics and marketing stuff. It's going to be pretty cool. I love all the naysayers because I keep getting, all the time, I keep getting these nasty little remarks of people saying, you know, hey, man, I hear you're doing so-and-so, and it's just, yeah, I'm glad you're going to make it, and blah, blah, blah. And I love the feedback. Thank you very much for all the support and the feedback. But then there's those couple that keep coming on, and they're, you know, sticking it to me. And it's like, you know, you can't do multiple niches. It's going to ruin you, and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, really? You know, this has been my work for 20 years. So, you know, to do a nice reveal and show everybody what's going on and start getting content out there, it's going to freak some people out, and I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's going to be in your face, as Todd McFarlane would say. It's going to be in your face. It's in your face. So, Todd used to tell everybody that when Spawn was going to come out back in the 90s, he used to, right before it all came out, he did the con circuit, and he was like he was like Pat Benatar, if you know who she was or is. He was like Pat Benatar and refused to sing "Love Is a Battlefield." He went to all these cons and refused to draw Spider-Man. It was great, but he would tell everybody, you know, the new stuff's coming. It's in your face. It's going to be cool. And he was busting everybody's chops. But you got to check this stuff out, man. I mean, you got to be willing to pull the trigger, willing to get your stuff going, and do whatever it takes to get it out there. I mean, if you seriously believe in yourself and you get it going and you hold up to your end of the bargain and knock it out, you're going to see some serious movement on both sides. You'll get the stuff out there. The following will back you up. But the number one thing is you have to show what's going on with it to where they know what you're talking about, who you are and what you're doing and all that, and make it happen. And if you don't, they'll eat your lunch. They will eat your lunch. They being the people online. I picked up almost 150 people yesterday on Twitter. And I know that doesn't sound like much, but that's because I put out the post, this thing is finally coming out, and everybody's freaking out about it. And it's just one of those things, man. I've got Catman coming out, Lone Rider's coming up. Lone Rider's coming up on Kickstarter on the 15th for this campaign, and that's what the sketchbook was for. And that's what it's going to be coming out and showing everybody all this cool stuff. After we get some more of this card done here, I'm going to go and take a couple seconds and show you guys some really neat stuff as to what I've got going on with the cards that I caught up on. I thought you might like to see those. But right now I'm going to go in here and cut in these big green eyes here. And then I'm going to cut in Prime. And like I said, just in case you don't understand who Prime is not Optimus, okay? Not from the Transformers. Not the toy line. He's this big bad superhero dude back here. And anyway, it's just phenomenal. Gonna knock it out. Have some fun with it. He's got his big old red gloves here. Big old superhero hands. Just monstrous. And like I said, the more angry he gets, the bigger he gets. If that's not a Hulk reference, I don't know what is. But like I said, he also has that whole thing of starting out. It starts out like a superhero, Superman type of character, and he transforms from this green ooze, which brings in the kid transforming into this bulk superhero, which that goes into the Captain Marvel type of look. And then on top of that, you have the Superman look with the cape and the superhero muscles and all that. And then after that, you get the muscle growth from the ooze itself. So whenever he gets upset, this ooze comes over and forms around him and makes him grow into this mammoth of a character called Prime. And when Malibu crossed him over, the first thing they did was make this character cross with the Hulk and butt heads. And the irony of it is, when they absorbed the character universe, they made it into the Ultimate Universe. They made the Malibu comics universe their Ultimate Universe timeline and reality. I loved that they did that. I hated that version of War Machine that they crossed over, Iron Man 2. And I hated that series. I hated it. He just looked weird. But then I got hooked into the Exiles and Ultra Force, which, like I had previously mentioned, made a cartoon. Then they had all this wonderful stuff. They had Prime, and they had Rune. And one of my all-time favorites have to be Sludge, which is basically a toxic ooze subway underground subterranean version of Swamp Thing. That's Malibu's version of Swamp Thing. He's a huge, instead of becoming a huge plant, he's a huge oil slick. And this big monstrous character, you can check him out. You can Google him and check him out, Sludge. And then, of course, Nightman, which was my absolute favorite because they made that into a live-action series. And in the 90s, that was a huge thing to do. Apparently huge is the word of the day, or the day of the word, as my daughter likes to say. She likes to reverse it on me. It's the day of the word. And I'm going to cut in this hand here. But anyway, the live-action series, he drove that Prowler in that series and was a saxophone player that got hit by a trolley. And all these characters, the funny thing was, 90% of the characters in Malibu were created by a trolley car accident in California. And I thought it was originally placed in California, but then they changed it to where it was, I think it was the East Coast when they changed it. But they made two incarnations, and it was funny. And this alien lightning storm hit and turned everybody into this. There was a carrier that had toxic ooze, and that's where Prime got busted into it. And it just went on and on and on. There were these superhero people called the Regulators, which teamed up and became a listing of superheroes. And then there were so many more that came out of it. And this storm released Rune, which was a vampire trapped in a tomb and got released on the world. And it just went on and on and on and on and on. I'm trying to map out what I want to do with the rest of this this lamp here, because I want to bend it up, but I want it to show proper in the way of where it's at, where he hits it. This is going to be some like blood where he got busted in the mouth. A little bit of that going on. That's his hairline right there. This is going to be the top of the lamp. I'm going to put in this section here. This is going to be the top of the street lamp that bends down and around. So I put a modern style on here. This wouldn't have been around whenever they did this, I don't think. In some places, I guess. Some of the bigger cities had these kind of fixtures, but it just depends. So I'm going to bust out some glass there. So it looks cracked. Leave the bulb in there like that. Turn it around. So put the panel on top. And now we've got the lamp that he flew into and bent up. There's the back of the other leg right there. So he's all crunched up on himself. Now I'm going to put in some rubble here. From where the Hulk chipped some of the wall as he was hitting it. And that's what this is down here, a big chunk of the wall that he knocked out. There's going to be some broken brick back here. And if you know this, if you notice this or not, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's going to be a little guy right here, and there's going to be a grocery bag of stuff right here as he's got his hand stuck out, freaking out because they busted their wall. Okay? We're going to go in with a 3 on that one, and I'm going to try and scribble some of that in so we can see it. This 5 is a little heavy for that, so I want that brick to have some weight to it. A lot of people would go really thin line with this, but I'm not gonna. I wanted it to be really heavy and up front. Okay. Now, before I switch over, some of the mortar here from the brick, make that all chipped up and banged up. I'm going to go right down here, carve that in real quick, and there we have the first chunk of that brick wall. Like it just kind of fell over. You know, I didn't want to lay it down. The reason it's standing up and it's not supposed to be attached back here, the reason this chunk is turned this way and is tilted up, it's like the chunk of the wall fell out and landed on end after it broke off. I wanted it to have that kind of effect. And you'll see here where it's shattered. And I didn't want to bust up every single brick either. What I did was I fractured them all. Like the chunk of the wall would fall off after the percussion of the impact would hit. And I wanted it to be more like that. So we got to do some cool little details on it that way. And got the brick to look like it was going to just be a maimed mess. Okay. Now, I've got that in. I've got a couple of buildings back here in the back as well. But I'm going to draw in these bricks from the wall here first. I'm going to go in and, like I said, put in a little bit of the mortar from the seams of the brick, holding them together. Put the building to stick out there a little bit. Okay. Now I'll cut in here. And I don't want to jack this up because I don't want it to look like a bomb blast. You know, everybody over details these things, and what I want to do here is I just want to put a couple of cracks in. And then keep the rest of the brick simple, because that's the whole point. You know, brick is actually a very tough material. I don't know if it would stand up to the Hulk's force or not. I don't know the science behind it, and I've never been as in depth to go on and, you know, do the actual math as to how hard this dude could really hit if he existed. Get a bunch of dirty comments, but hey man, he really does exist. What do you mean? No, he doesn't exist. I could just see it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put an onlooker right here. Put a little bit of a hairdo right there, like that. We'll put some glasses right there. A little bit of a mouth right there so we can see an onlooker kind of looking in here beyond the wall as he is walking by, as this happens and goes through, just boom. So I always love to have reality kick in, you know, because this is fantasy, of course. You know, you mean it's not real? There you go. I got you again. But seriously though, I always draw these things with want to draw them with a dose of reality to them, you know, so that helps ground them out. I mean, I like to draw real people. I always hated the fact that nobody, you know, all these big massive fights would happen and nobody was around. It's like, where's everybody at? So I'm going to switch over to my 3 now and draw in some of these little things in the background so we can see, you know, kind of a fruit with an apple and a leaf there, and then we'll have this little guy back here freaking out, screaming. A little bit of a modern hairdo on him, a little bit ear, and drawing a hand here of him freaking out. Draw that sleeve and that shoulder of him cringing back. So he's kind of laying back into it. And then down here we'll put in this shopping bag. And all modern shopping bags are not, you know, the big shopping bags are reusable with the straps on them. We reuse them here. My daughter loves carrying them around. So I'm going to put some stuff in here, a little box there, put a little box there. And so it looks like stuff fell out. I'm going to put, I don't know, maybe some broccoli or something there. Put another piece of fruit or an onion or something there. And then we got that going on. So I'm going to draw in the rest of this bag down here so we can tell more of what it is. And right back here, right behind that, all this mess right here is brick, and then food, and then this dude back here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little bit more because he bent the crap out of that lamp there. It's naturally going to make some people freak out. So I'm going to put in a line right here and put in the edge for a hood and a couple of grills, and then put a headlight right there, and it goes around, and that's all you see of it. But there's the front end of the car, like a cabbie or something. I'm going to put it back here. I just got the idea of, you know, I did sketch this in, but I got the idea last minute to put in something, because if you're on a street like that, how funny would it be to see a car, you know, just kind of screech up and stop, because you don't know, you know, he's going to turn this way and do a peel, because he's not going to know if this dude's going to go over into the street in front of him or not and land on his car. So he's going to stop this way and he'll skid up to him, kind of deal. I thought that would be neat. I'll cut in that windshield right there to validate this a little bit by shading that out. I shouldn't really do this with a 3 because it's too fine. And then that makes that stuff pop out too. So, but I thought it would be a nice way to make him kind of go through and hit it or whatever. It's not exact, but I mean, it shouldn't be quite that bent, but I'm okay with it. It's a sketch card. We'll leave it alone. If I'd have lined it out better, it would have looked better. But I wasn't sure if I was going to put it in or not. Now here, I'm going to pop in a couple of buildings on the other side of the street. And before I go do that, I'm going to put in this other side. Right here, above and below. So we have it on both sides. There we go. Cool. All right. Now I'm going to go over here and draw in another alley. And this one will be blacked out because I want that to shade up. So we're going to go down here about yay far. Just going to shade that in just a little. Okay, cool. There's the cape. We'll leave that alone. I think that's going to mark off, yep, right there. Cool. I'm going to put a couple of things across the edge of the street over here, but we'll do that after I get this going. I just want to mark these in real quick. This is not going to be a fancy smancy detailed type of building. Yes, that's a technical term, like I said. So just want to kind of put in a little bit of brick here and there. I hate the idea of putting them on the corner. I hate doing that, but it's okay. I was originally going to line that out, but I'm not going to take that. I'm running a little long here, so I'm not going to take that time. I'm going to cut this one over this way, so we have it done. Boom, done deal. And there's the building behind the way. Put the floors in on that. And so we can get some depth separation right there. I'm going to thicken this line up just a little. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right in here and heard the guy next door just flare up his truck. Now I'm going to go in here and put in, what do we want to put in here? I don't know, maybe a sandwich shop? How about that? That'll work. We'll put it in like that and put in a sandwich shop, put in a deli. That'll work. Now the old school delis, they all have the banner right up here, and then they have the upper floor windows, so we'll put those in right there, you know, for like the family and stuff, right up above there. And some of these older stone buildings are a little off kilter. I'm twisting my card around here so I don't keep my hands on it because I don't want to smudge that up. So bear with me here. Could have cut in that shadow line real loose. And there we go. We have the banner right here. And to show that and make it pop up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a couple of curtain lines here so we can see what's going on with the drapery. That'll make that look come out a little bit. There we go. Cool. Now let me see where everything is. We need to get, this is the columned base for the lamp. And I need to put in a couple of details on that. And then I'll do this other edge over here. Now here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put in a big window. I'm going to line this like this. Turn it around again so I can do this level. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put a big department store like next door. Right off of it. Ground floor, and maybe another, you know, that ground floor window, those big shopping windows that you see in the old school stores, where they're bricked up here for the flooding to keep it out and to keep it from leaking into the glass. And then you have that foundation seam up top to divide everything up, and then the store sign up at the top there. So there we go. Cool deal. Now I'm going to come in and shade up this cape a little bit, because he wears this massive red cape. I mean, if this dude was if you hear the dinging, my lamp's hitting the camera right here. He's just a massive character, and I mean, just just impossible to fathom a human form doing without breaking down and completely changing like the Hulk does. This dude does not do that. He stays human looking, human-esque, and just comes down the line that way. I'm going to go in here and cut in the green hair with highlights and trim here so we can get everything going. Again, we're going to have this primarily blacked out. This is a little bit different technique that I'm using this time because I don't want to black out the whole thing. So what I'm doing is I'm giving highlights here and there. Kind of breaking it up a little bit. Where it looks a little more organic than I usually do because I've been trying to, excuse me, get more like I do in the comic books and, you know, base this stuff out just a little more finished. I wanted to do a comic book type of a panel-esque look, if that's the terminology, I guess, to where this thing looks a little more like what I do in the comics. Because I get asked about that all the time. It's like, can you draw a comic page for your session? No. I'm fast, but I'm not fast enough to draw a complete comic. What I may do is break one down. If you guys really want to see that, let me know. And I might break one down into a either a time lapse or break it down into where you guys can see it live in a couple of sections. Because I don't want to sit here for, you know, hours on end and keep you for a full page. But I have no qualms with getting in and throwing down a page, you know, over a couple of sessions and building out the panels to see the process, if that's what you guys want to see. I was talking about putting that on Patreon, but when I asked, nobody was interested. Nobody responded. I mean, nobody said no, but nobody responded either. So I was like, okay, I guess that's off the table. But I mean, if that was something to come about, cool. But if not, that's fine too, whatever. I mean, I'm so busy actually drawing pages for the books that I'm working on, it's a little intense to get in there and do, you know, that. But I mean, if that's what you guys want to see, I'll definitely do it. Let me know. Let me know. Okay. Thanks for the kind concerns for my hand, by the way. Like I said, I was moving all those paper boxes out of storage where I was liquidating files and things and scanning them all in digital and whatnot from business stuff, and wore my cuticle out. And to answer that question, no, it doesn't hurt. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. Okay. I'm going to put in a couple of little details right here under the eye to kind of make that pop out a little bit. And then we are going to call it a day. So, there you go. Hulk versus Prime. I think that's pretty solid. That face went a little smaller than I wanted it to, but we got it all on there. Hope you guys dig it and enjoyed it. And I'm going to be going on to do another one for tomorrow. But to let you guys know, as promised here, I am working on the He-Man. I started inking it this morning. Then I've got, let me see here. Who else do I have? I have the Predator inked up. There's the Joker. Rhino came out phenomenal. Love that one. There's Wembley from the Fraggles. And then we have, let's see, T-Rex. I have Carnage there. These will all be going into the sketchbook and into the Kickstarter for availability. There's Dr. Doom, one of my favorites. And let's see here. There's Men-at-Arms. There's the Silver Surfer. Mr. Fantastic. There's the Green Lantern, Golden Age. And then we have the Scarlet Spider, Ben Parker. This Spawn came out phenomenally. I really, really dig that chain work. I'm very, very happy with that. Jackalman finally got inked up, and Pumara got inked up as well, just in the last day or so. And I'm still working on a big stack of these to get them finished up for the sketchbook. And I'm planning on doing that, like I said, right around the 15th. So thank you guys for checking it out. I don't know what we're going to draw tomorrow yet, but I'll be working on it soon, and I will check you later. Until then, take care. Catch you tomorrow.